Hello, I am Chuangzi Flo, and this is the first in a series of educational videos titled How to Monster Hunt. This video will cover the very basics of the game as an introduction to people unfamiliar with it. What is Monster Hunter? Monster Hunter is a video game series developed by Capcom, which has experienced massive success in Japan. The series launched in 2004 on the PlayStation 2. Since then, the series has made its way onto the PSP, 3DS, Wii, and PlayStation 3, as well as a minigame on the iPhone and an MMO on the PC and Xbox 360. Monster Hunter is a third-person skill-based action game where the player takes the role of a hunter who hunts down giant monsters and uses their materials to make more and more powerful weapons and armor. The gameplay is built on providing the player with a strong sense of challenge and the reward for overcoming it, both through the rush of victory and through in-game loot. Quests. In Monster Hunter, the hunter takes on quests, either from a village elder, single player, or from the Hunters Guild in the guild hall, multiplayer. Once the player has confirmed what equipment and supplies they wish to bring along, they can depart from the village to one of the various stages in the game and attempt to complete their task. Different quests will require the hunter to do different things while on the quest, depending on the type of the quest. There are two general quest types: gathering and hunting. In a gathering quest, the hunter may be required to find a certain material in the stage and deliver it back to the base camp. In a hunting quest, the player will be asked to hunt a specific monster, or monsters in multi-monster quests. You will fail a quest if you're unable to complete the task required within the time limit, usually 50 minutes, or have reduced the reward for the quest to 0. When you die, the monetary reward you would receive upon completion is reduced by 1/3. So, if you die 3 times during a quest, the reward will be reduced to 0, and you will have failed the quest. Minions and monsters. There are two types of enemies you will encounter in Monster Hunter: minions and monsters. Minions are small monsters, usually the juvenile form of their larger monster counterparts. Monsters are the boss enemies of the game, and you will spend most of your time in Monster Hunter battling them, or preparing for it. Weapons. In Monster Hunter, there are 13 different weapon types. Here is the list of weapon class types. Greatsword. A huge blade capable of being charged up for a single massive strike. However, due to the weapon's great size and weight, the mobility of the wielder is reduced while the weapon is drawn. Longsword. A long, katana-like medium-speed weapon with a deadly spirit gauge capable of unleashing special spirit attacks. Sword and Shield. A simple but effective weapon that makes use of a short sword and shield. A high-speed weapon. Dual Swords. A dual-wielded bladed weapon capable of entering a demonization mode, granting a new attack and other bonuses, at the cost of draining the user's stamina. Another very fast attacking weapon. Hammer. A heavier weapon, like the greatsword, but with less penalty to the user's movement, capable of knocking the enemy monster out after successive hits on the head and dealing special impact type damage. Hunting Horn. Similar to the hammer, however, this weapon is also an instrument, can play special songs which give the user and his or her party buffs. Like the hammer, the hunting horn also deals impact type damage, and can knock out the enemy monster. Lance. The lance is a heavy, long weapon, accompanied by a great shield. Like the greatsword, the walking speed of the user is greatly reduced while the weapon is drawn. But instead of the dodge roll of the other weapons, the lance makes use of backhops and slides, which can be used to compensate for its slow walking speed. The lance has a greater ability to block attacks than the other weapons, having the largest shield. Gun lance. The gun lance is similar to the lance. However, it is capable of loading and firing explosive shells at a close range. Like the lance, its blocking ability exceeds that of the other weapons. Switch, or slash axe. The switch axe is a bladed weapon with the ability to swap between axe and sword modes. While in axe mode, the user can move around more freely. However, the attacks are slower. When switched to sword mode, the weapon can strike more rapidly, but at the cost of mobility, limiting the user's walking speed to that of the greatsword. Being in sword mode gradually drains the gauge of the weapon, until eventually it requires reloading. Ranged weapons. Bowguns. Bowguns, either light or heavy, can fire various bullets at a great range. The light bowgun allows for quicker movement with the weapon drawn than the heavy bowgun. Bows. The bow is a quick, ranged weapon with an infinite quiver of arrows. The bow shot can be charged up before being aimed and fired. The user can fire different types of shots depending on the type of the bow, and can make use of arrow coatings for various effects. All individual weapons within a given weapon class will have the same controls and moveset. Items. While hunting, you can make use of various items. Some examples of the supplies available are potions, which can be consumed to heal the hunter, traps, which can be set in a specific spot, and upon luring the monster into the trap, can immobilize it long enough for the hunter to deal a vast amount of damage, or to capture the monster, and various bombs, which can be thrown to disrupt the monster in different ways. That's all for this video, and in the next video, I plan to cover things more in depth, with a weapon mechanics video. Please stay tuned, and if you enjoyed the video, you can support me by subscribing to my YouTube channel. You can also check out my live stream, where I play Monster Hunter live every day at twitch.tv/chuangzi_flow.